Hello and welcome to Scrolling with Ceazor. Today is July 9th, 2026. So I don't have a whole lot of news for you today, but I do have a handful of tweets that I'm going to share with you. But let's take a quick look at the charts first. And as always, this is not financial advice. You bet on what you think is going to boom and what is, or short what you think is going to dump and all that. So ETH is crabby, a little bit sideways. BTC is looking crabby as well, but it's a little bit green, so the big red candle on the ETH versus BTC chart, so that's not nice. Everything else is pretty crabby, actually, sideways action. Yearn continues to, it's not bloating. Yearn continues to, it kind of pulled back a little bit. That's nice. So anyways, not too much to relate. I got no financial advice for you on these charts at all. So let's move into the tweets. Okay, so the first tweet here, let's see, didn't I open this? Yeah. Okay, so first tweet here is we got from Joe Star. This is kind of interesting idea. Okay, so he's saying that like Robinhood is bullish for Ethereum, but bearish for ETH token. He says, no one seems to understand. Robin Chain using ETH isn't bullish for the asset at all. It doesn't justify a 500 billion valuation. I disagree with this a little bit. If everyone's going to be using ETH for liquidity pools, then everyone's kind of aligning their token with the value of ETH. If ETH dumps, their token dumps. So they're kind of stating alignment with Ethereum. Now he's right in that like it's not going to pump the coin, but at least it's showing alignment, and people are considering it as a good store of value. It might not dump more, and it's likely to go up. It's not going to moon. It's not going to 100x tomorrow. But yeah, moving on. He says Robinhood Chain is slowly attract institutional demand and RWAs. And those will not go to Ethereum now. So that's a valid point. Like Robinhood's going to put stocks on chain, and people are going to be trading in Robinhood app. Other institutions are going to probably trade through the Robinhood Chain RWAs, and those RWAs are not going to actually sit on Ethereum. Now that's true. I agree with that. What else we got here? He says Ethereum is the Cisco of crypto. I don't understand. Like I understand the metaphor, but I don't know much about Cisco and how it's like a dead egg, which is trying to say, right? So. So he's like, yeah, the real value will always be going to apps and L2s that build on top of Ethereum, not to the ETH, the token. And I agree with him for the most part. So I'll say yes, but maybe not exactly. But I see his points. Okay, moving on. So another opportunity for liquidity. Obviously, like I'm going to keep talking about these guys. Yes, they are my sponsor. They're actually my only actual real sponsor right now, but I'm more than happy to talk about these guys every single day, because what they've built is right perfectly in line with my ethos. So yeah, so you can get 9% on your stable coins if you put them into Uniswap versus Bold versus USDC. And you get basically, you just claim from Merkle more Bold every single day or week, or depending on how often you how much money you put in there, how many rewards you can get out of there. Okay, moving on. So Ryan Watkins, I haven't seen him in a while on crypto Twitter. Now I'm sure he's still around. I just haven't seen him. I wonder why I'm not even following him. That's probably why. So anyway, so he's talking about bubbles, okay? And what he's saying here is pretty interesting. He's talking about the fact that like the meme coin bubble was great. He says it was great for the 2023, 2025 because it brought a lot of interesting things. So like it stress tested the chains. It funded a lot of value trading infrastructure for the ecosystem, but now it's kind of dead. Like things are not pumping the way they were in 2023, 2024, and so forth. So he's like, there's too much like problems. There's too many insider trading, bundling, bots, ruining. It's not a fair game anymore. So it's like it's just an extraction, and most people know it's an extraction, so it's just not going to pump like it did before. And he's like, the same thing happened with Ethereum, with the ICOs, and then yield farming, and then now meme coins. So it's all kind of like these different phases. I think yield farming is still fantastic. Like obviously you're not getting like 1000% APRs and stuff like this, or 10,000 and weird juiced up like crazy APRs of token inflation. This has been fixed, but it's still a solid, predictable, dependable source of yield, source of growth, if you will, right? It's way better than betting like your entire clip on different kinds of like shitcoin, meme coins that you have no idea which one's going to pump. I think so, but I'm a leather ass yield farmer, and I'm going to probably die this way. Moving on, so Andre Cronje dropped this thing here. So apparently, Flying Tulip is going to drop this new system called Total Return Swaps, and he doesn't explain it here, but he says, why are they better than perps? So total return swaps are going to be something of the nature of leverage trading. So it's like same capital efficiency as perps, same leverage ability as perps. It uses on-chain spot liquidity instead of like weird derivative stuff. It's cheaper funding, so you won't have as much, like if you're on the right side of the trade, you won't get as much, right? And no auto deleveraging. So I'm interested to see what comes, and it's pretty cool because like Flying Tulip has dropped some interesting new tech. Like first of all, I'll list the stuff that comes off the top of my head. Now, first of all, they have those put option NFTs. So when they sold the tokens to people, you have the ability to exit your buy order, your pre-sale, and get back your money at any time along the road. Anytime you want, you can just take your money back, right? Or you can wait for the Flying Tulip token to pump and then take that and sell it, or do whatever you want with it, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing that he did was he built a protocol that all of the yield generation is all buying back the token. Some of it's being burned and some of it's being used to incentivize. So there's no inflation at all. The entire supply is already on chain, and it's just playing with the supply that's there. And then now this, and there's all kinds of other little things like the collateral that you put in Lend can be used for maybe this. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff. Check it out. Okay, so Polaris has dropped this article here. It's a long one, so I'm not going to read through all of it. And it's talking mostly about like why like Ethereum is so important. Okay, I always think of Ethereum as like, Manhattan, New York City, and all the other chains are just like suburbs of New York or something like this. But what he says, all roads lead to Ethereum. So I'm gonna just highlight the headings of this article, and then you can get in here and read a little bit more. Now, Polaris is a protocol that I've invested in. I didn't put tons of money, but I put some money on it. So I'm kind of biased, and whatever they say kind of makes me feel good, right? So price action equals economic reality. Stablecoins reveal where the trust lives. So yeah, there's a lot of stablecoins on Ethereum, right? Institutions are choosing Ethereum. So yeah, like you don't see big institutions going to XRP or Solana or any of these places, right? It's too philosophical point. I don't know exactly. I have to read this, but it's just talking about the idea that Ethereum Foundation is kind of was very like ethos reliant, but now we have ETH Labs and ETH Institution to kind of push Ethereum in different ways, right? So conclusion, yes, high gas fees made mainnet inaccessible to many users during the peak active periods. But it's exactly this focus on infrastructure and scalability that have been the heart of the significant decrease in transaction loss that we are seeing today. Yeah, so right now today the GUI for sending a transaction is 0.09 GUI. It's like a transfer is less than $1 now. So that's nice. Okay. So I got this tweet here from Truio. I made this question on Truio yesterday that says like Base versus Robinhood chain, who hits L2B stage 2 first? So it's a pretty simple question. So if you resolve yes, yes tokens get paid if base beats Robinhood. No tokens if Robinhood beats base, and if neither of them gets there by the end of the year, then it's a draw and everyone gets their money back. So this is the likely outcome of this is everyone gets their money back. However, the beautiful thing about this is that the money you're betting is interest bearing. So instead of holding, like your interest bearing coins in your wallet, you can put them here and actually make a bet, or just kind of, bet on both sides and, just add liquidity to this pool. And there's still gambling in here. There's a slight amount of gambling. Like obviously you want to bet one side more than the other, but it's kind of smart to hedge your bet here and think the likelihood is that they both won't get stage 2, right? By the end of the year, right? But so it's interesting. I thought I would make it and see if there's an appetite to that. Yeah. And so this person says, would bet on the draw. I agree. So moving on, let's just answer him. I agree, but they are interest bearing tokens you bet with. So moving on, so Sentinel was talking about the liquidity farm here. So I mentioned this before, and here it is again. They're putting their bold, I guess it's $2,000. I didn't expect that much. So yeah. If you are a LQTY staker, you can vote on this IPOR vault and push some of those PIL incentives, those bold incentives to this vault to encourage people to deposit more into this vault. I vote on this. I have tokens in this vault, and I also have bold in other places. So I am super biased of this, but it's good shit. Like it's pretty good. Now there's some people are concerned about the fees to join and exit this pool. Now, what I'll say is the fees are there. Now, they're not just purely fees for like the team to buy Lambos. The fees are there for covering the slippage and the swapping and stuff like this, as well as, of course, the team's going to get some of the money, right? But it's the kind of thing like at 12% on your ETH, or let's say, I don't remember what it is. It's around 10% on your ETH right now. And that's good enough. Like you just have to wait a little bit longer. That's it, right? to break even. But anyways, Jenny.frax. I started following her. I did a tweet yesterday that was a little bit I don't know, I don't know. Maybe I chose my words kind of poorly, and I really shouldn't have said that, but it was clickbaity and stuff like that. But anyway, so Jenny tweeted this out, and she's a new follow for me, and so she's like, FRX doesn't have to sit idle in your wallet. By depositing it into Staked Out Vault on Morpho, your capital can be earning alongside with additional rewards. So here they've got 11% on this picture. I don't know if that's still at that level of juice, but you can check it out. But the reason why I want to talk about this is not so much that like this particular opportunity is fantastic. It looks pretty good on the surface. I'll have to look in and see what these collateral are and stuff like that. But my point is there are massive amounts of places where you can put FRX USD to work and gain an APR. There's almost no reason why you should be holding idle stablecoins in your wallet. Like USDC, USDT, FRX USD, even Bold. Don't hold idle stablecoins in your wallet. Put them to work in some place. Do some due diligence. Make sure you're not exposing yourself to crazy risk, right? But do some due diligence and put them to work somewhere. And in fact, like you're less likely to get exploited or phished if you don't hold idle stablecoins in your wallet. Like if you have some approvals to spend and that place gets hacked and you have idle stablecoins in your wallet, your idle stablecoins will be pulled out. But if they're deposited into some DeFi protocol, the approval doesn't have approval to withdraw your coins from that, that vault or that, lending platform, and then take them. So you protect yourself in that manner, as well as added protection in that way. And nobody really thinks about that. Yeah, you're adding smart contract risk, but you're also reducing approval risk significantly. Okay, but anyways, that's not, the main reason is get your APR, right? Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, this is like political crap, and I know this is not a political show, but I think it's related to blockchains in some ways. Okay, so take a look at this. So in Canada, the Prime Minister is this guy Mark Carney, right? And he used to work for this company called Brookfield. This like massive, like it's like Canada's version of like BlackRock, basically, right? It's just a big evil corporation, right? And now he's the Prime Minister. So what he has done is there's all these condos in Vancouver and Ontario that are not being sold, and the condo developers are like basically going to lose their money. And so his solution is, well, let's use the Canadian dollars, tax dollars, to buy them. So bail out these massive producers, right? Which is questionable itself, right? Which I think they took a bet, they made condominiums, they didn't sell. That's their problem. It's not everyone in the country's problem. But that's a different debate. The debate here on the table is his old company partnered with those companies 15 days before they announced that they're going to bail them out. Like, how is that not corruption? Right there, obvious. And then the ethics committee voted to take a look at, is there corruption inside there? And then these government guys, they decided, no, let's vote against it. They don't need to look inside here. They don't have the right to look inside here. So it's just insanity. Like, now, so how does this relate to blockchains? This is why we need to keep working on DAOs. This is why we need to keep building DAOs, because DAOs are, for the most part, they're very, very transparent. They might be sluggish, they might be exploitable, they might be, retarded, they might not have any kind of use, they might not have traffic, people might not be paying attention to them, but they are transparent. And here's a case of perfect that. Like, if the entire government was run by it, like as a DAO, and Mark Carney wanted to bail out this company, then he would have to propose it to everyone, and everyone would vote. And then if Brookfield wanted to merge with this other company, I can't remember what it's called, then they would have to do this in that kind of manner. And if maybe there's still private companies. The private companies aren't going to be DAOs, right? So they could merge if they wanted to, but Brookfield wouldn't know that they've got the one guy in there with his team of like 6 guys or 12 guys or whatever it is who are going to vote to make something happen, and they're going to insider trade it. Like they wouldn't know, because they'd have to wait and see what all the people say, and in order for that to happen, the proposal has to convince them. So it has to lay out all the facts. Now, of course, they could lie and they could put up the proposal. It could be a malicious proposal, right? Like, that could definitely happen. But there would definitely be somebody in that who would scream like bloody wolf. Okay, anyway, that's enough of this. So let's talk, let's move on to goodbyes and farewells. And thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.